So, you think your job is tough, your boss is a nightmare, your commute is the worst thing ever. I get it, but what if I told you that your boring desk job is actually a biological miracle? Yeah, those endless meetings, the inbox that never sleeps, that slight caffeine addiction just to make it to Friday, it's a grind. But listen, the only reason you're here to complain about it is because of this long, long line of ancestors who survived jobs that were, and I mean this literally, a death sentence.
So let's do a little time traveling, shall we? Let's zoom right past your dad and his dad.
And keep on going. Whoosh! Past all those powdered wigs and fancy talk. We're going way, way back now. Even past the whole knights in shining armor phase, which, let's be honest, was probably pretty rusty chainmail. And we're gonna keep going all the way back to this guy. Yep, squatting in the dirt, maybe chewing on a beetle. This is him, your ancestor. His only goal for the day? Make it to sundown. He has zero clue that one day you, his super distant descendant, with a Netflix account and a thing for snacks, would even exist. You know, your entire existence is basically just a happy accident of survival. It's wild. So today, we're gonna count down the top 5 deadliest jobs in all of human history. These are the jobs your ancestors somehow miraculously made it through, all so you could have the luxury of complaining about spreadsheets. All right, kicking things off at number 5, we're dialing the clock back about 20,000 years. Welcome to the Ice Age, folks. The world is basically a giant frozen wasteland, and your actual job, is to go hunt something the size of a school bus. I mean, just think about the setup here for a second. Your gear, the peak of your technology, it's a sharpened stick. That's it. And your target? Oh, just a 6-ton woolly mammoth that is very, very angry and is actively trying to turn you into a pancake. So your daily planner was basically just a list of horrible ways to die, right? If the mammoth doesn't stomp you flat, maybe a cave lion decides you look like a tasty snack. If you get lucky and avoid all that, you could just, starve to death in the frozen tundra. And a simple paper cut, forget about it. A little cut could get infected and that was game over. No doctors, no antibiotics, just you, your pointy stick, and a whole lot of nope. Okay, moving on to number 4. So after thousands of years of that misery, humans had a brilliant idea. They thought, hey, what if we stopped chasing these giant angry elephants and, just grew our own food? Settling down, farming, sounds way safer, right? Oh, you could not be more wrong. Yeah, welcome to the dawn of agriculture. It seems like this huge step forward, but in reality, it was kind of like trading one big problem for 1,000 tiny, horrible ones. You basically swapped the threat of getting gored by a mammoth for a whole new menu of ways to suffer. The downsides were just awful. Suddenly, you're all living close together, which means diseases just rip through the village like wildfire. And your diet? It got way worse. You're mostly eating grain mush, which means your teeth are just rotting right out of your skull. And the worst part? You were completely at the mercy of the weather. One bad drought, one flood, and that's it. The entire village just starves. All right, let's fast forward a bit to number 3 on our list. The year is 1347. The Black Death hits Europe. And let me tell you, if you happen to be a doctor, your job just became an actual suicide mission. To give you an idea of how bad this was, just look around you. Imagine if 6 out of every 10 people you know just vanished, gone. That's what we're talking about. This thing wiped out a massive chunk of the entire continent. And guess what? You're the doctor, you're supposed to be the one who fixes it. And what was your high-tech, cutting-edge protective equipment for this plague? This thing. This absolutely terrifying bird mask. And you know what was inside the beak? Flowers. Freaking flowers, because they thought the plague was caused by bad smells. So their brilliant medical strategy was to fight it with good smells. Yeah. Spoiler alert, that did not work. Coming in hot at number 2 is a job that proves a very important lesson. Sometimes being really, really good at your job is a terrible idea. Let me introduce you to Pyrrhus of Athens. He was a brilliant inventor. A little too brilliant, as it turns out. So, Pyrrhus builds this device for a local tyrant. It's a giant hollow bowl made of bronze. The idea is you lock someone inside, light a fire under it, and, well, you get the picture. He even designed these special tubes so that the person's screams would sound like an angry bull. Just truly awful stuff. But here's the kicker. the ultimate workplace hazard. When he proudly presents his invention to the boss, the tyrant says, "Wow, cool, let's test it out. On you." Yeah. Talk about a bad performance review. And here we are, the number one, the absolute deadliest job in all of human history. And the thing is, this was a job that nobody, and I mean nobody, ever signed up for. Picture this. It's the 13th century, and you see the Mongol army on the horizon. Your city basically has 5 minutes to freak out before it gets completely flattened. But hey, what if you survived the attack? Good news. You've just been hired for a brand new position. So what's the job description? Simple. You get marched to the very front of the Mongol army as they attack the next city. Your entire purpose is to absorb all the enemy arrows. You're a human shield. That's it. There's no pay, no 401k, just a 100% guarantee that you're gonna have a really, really bad day. So, all that kind of brings us back to the present, doesn't it? Suddenly, that quarterly report you have to finish doesn't seem quite so terrible, huh? And look, that's really the whole point. Your life, your safe, comfortable, air-conditioned life, is the wild, impossible fantasy that every single one of your ancestors was fighting for. Whether they were running from a mammoth or trying not to get the plague, this is what they were working towards. So next time you're having a bad day at work, just remember, it could be worse, a lot worse. And hey, maybe hit that subscribe button, just in case natural selection decides to make a comeback.